JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live, freaking afternoon edition. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin will be appearing in court in about 25 minutes in Utah. It's probably the last chance we're going to get to see court proceedings with a camera on them. Today's pretrial hearing is about allowing cameras in the courtroom for the proceedings and whether or not he will be shackled and in a jail jumpsuit. This is not my apartment. I'm in a spare room somewhere in an undisclosed location. That's why it's so dark. There's no window in here. Well, I guess there is a window, but it's pretty small. I'm being held. Being held captive. No, don't apologize. Don't apologize at all. You want to see a cat? I got a cat for you. Oh, it's hard to see him. It's so dark in here. He looks like he is tired of my shit at the moment. He's like, I was comfortable and you had to come grab me. What, Smokey? He's falling asleep in my arms. I've never had a cat just fall asleep as I'm holding him. That's fucking funny. Yeah, but he's laying back down. Like, why'd you have to wake me up? All right, so we're about 20 minutes away from the pretrial hearing for Tyler Robinson in Utah. We're going to get video from inside the courtroom. Let's go ahead and give you the preview. Oh, before we do that, let me show you, speaking of Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk Memorial Fountain has been unveiled. I have a shot of it for you here. This is the Charlie Kirk Memorial Fountain. Cancel Justin, probably. Yeesh. That's the response I get. Yeesh. Did I know? What joke? What joke did I not see, Sky Comment? I'm sorry. Welcome in. Mr. Elwood, good to see you. Warlord. We'll be taking the courthouse camera here momentarily. I don't understand what your beef is with leftist corporation, Cricks. Also, good afternoon. Welcome in. If you, last night we covered the Charlie Kirk's Murderers website and how that was a scam, and then Candace Owens went off on her conspiracy theory. You love this guy, Charlie Kirk? You're getting a hard on over the Charlie Kirk Memorial Fountain? Media Winch, welcome in. Good to see you, darling. So we're going to be taking the court hearing here at the top of the hour. Let's get the preview of what's going to go on.
Clothing and news coverage. 2 questions tonight in the case against the accused killer of Charlie Kirk. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Malecki.
And I'm Mika Miyashima. Tyler Robinson's next court hearing is tomorrow. What a judge decides could impact what you see in the case. Christian Sita is live on our top story. Christian.
Mika, Brian Robinson's lawyers in the Utah County Sheriff's Office disagree on what he should wear to court, but both say that cameras shouldn't be allowed.
The defense is wanting him to be dressed in like a suit and tie, which is pretty standard. The prosecution is arguing he is a danger and needs to be shackled during his court appearances.
Out inside.
Attorneys for Tyler Robinson want the court to let him appear in regular clothes and without shackles during all in-person hearings. They say the intense media coverage has already polluted the waters of justice, focusing on his demeanor.
What intense media coverage? It's not like we're watching a meaningless pretrial hearing in Utah.
In jail appearance instead of the facts of the case. The defense filing also says the publicity has already exceeded their early concerns about jurors seeing Robinson in jail clothing and potentially perceiving him as guilty. The Utah County Sheriff's Office, however, believes security concerns justify keeping Robinson restrained or even having him appear remotely. Despite that disagreement, Robinson's team agrees with the sheriff that video and photography inside the courtroom should be limited, saying that step would protect.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're probably not going to get cameras through the proceedings because both sides agree they should limit video.
His right to a fair trial. Judge Tony Graff is expected to rule on the motion Monday, deciding how Robinson will appear when the high-profile case moves forward.
Now, we will provide you with the latest updates of that hearing tomorrow on our webpage, KUTV.com, and on air. Reporting live, Christian Sita, KUTV 2 News.
They did indeed say sheriff. Llama, welcome in. The sheriff apparently said he should appear in shackles, which the sheriff is the one that would oversee his detention in the jail. So that would be why the sheriff would have input. It's his deputies that will be escorting him to the courtroom and making sure that the courtroom is safe. Wonder what's going on. Is the Charlie Kirk show live right now? I wonder what they're doing. Maybe TPUSA? No. No, apparently not. I thought the Charlie Kirk show came on around this time. They have not missed a beat. They've still got it going. That's apparently they're bitching about evangelical elites. What the hell?
And martyrdom of Christians is real. And there will always be a cost because our spiritual enemy always opposes faithful witnesses everywhere, even here in our nation. That's why I want you to request a free copy of When Faith is Forbidden from The Voice of the Martyrs. You'll be in.
We're 19 seconds into this and it's already trying to sell us something. It's always a book plug. My Lord, welcome in.
Inspired by bold believers around the world who stood firm for Christ despite risk of prison and even death. The same faith Charlie stood so boldly for. Go to vom.org/faith. That's vom.org/faith right now to get your free copy.
Wow.
Use the link.
Always be closing. Sports cards, welcome in.
This has been something that's really been bothering me, actually, and I didn't have words for it, but you know, obviously when Charlie...
Oh, was it a free copy? Well, I'll tell you what they're doing then. They're getting your information so they can sell it to a third party, and then they're going to send you a book that they're going to then count towards their sales of that book to make it seem like they sold more books than they actually did. Fuzzy Simba, Byronic, Curiouser, welcome in. She used the Charlie Kirk emotes.
Was murdered. There was this amazing outpouring of support and love, and rightly so. And so, like, I'm not...
Dougie, welcome in.
To hold people... Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk.
I wouldn't judge you at all, Ducky. I would assume that you actually follow the teachings of Christ. If Christians actually followed the teachings of Jesus, I don't think there's a soul that would have a problem with them. Not a single one. Always be cucking.
You weren't 100% on board before, and so now you can't say anything nice. No, that's not what I'm saying. I actually think that's a good thing. Like, I want you to
was
embrace...
Megan not on board? Get her off the show.
Yeah, this is a debate, Megan. We're about to hold...
Who is this Megan girl?
Right now.
But
she looks kind of like Erica.
Go ahead and throw this up. 292. Charlie Kirk to young men. You need to go to a Bible study instead of a bar. And yet our evangelical leadership class kept him at arm's distance because he was an outspoken conservative and Trump supporter. All caps, that's what...
They kept him at a distance because he was an outspoken conservative and Trump supporter, which, you know, doesn't jive with the teachings of Jesus.
But the problem is, and I just thought that was so... well put and a point well made, Megan, because, like, yes, everybody could, especially in evangelical circles, we're not talking about Antifa here, the far left wackos. Of course, they said this is terrible. We condemn this. This is how tragic, and our heart goes out, all this stuff. But you're right that in life, I mean, by the way, our TPUSA Faith chapters, our network of churches has doubled. So this is a mixed bag. There's good stories here, but there is in Big Eva, as we call it. I was meeting with a pastor yesterday.
Big Eva?
Big Eva is under God's judgment, in his opinion. Okay, you can.
As in big evangelical?
Start there. And what is the issue here? That is.
Remember, this is a multi-million-dollar organization.
Away from embracing wholeheartedly somebody like Charlie.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you invited me on to talk about this, Andrew, because it drives me nuts. And if you follow me on X, you probably have picked up how much it drives me nuts that there is this double standard about embracing somebody who is doing.
All right, Megan, stop being a Karen.
In the Christian space, but who is politically connected. Because you will have an organization like the Gospel Coalition. It's a media outlet. They also have their Keller Center for Cultural Engagement and their fellows there. It's extremely well known. And what they do.
I've got your fellows here.
People like Michael Ware, who is a Democratic operative who worked in the Obama administration. And they will put him forward as somebody who is doing faith and politics combined very well. They will also have someone like Justin Giboney of the AND campaign, someone who our friend Ali.
Why are there so many Chuddy Justins?
Who is a Democratic activist, even as he kind of tours to these allegedly conservative churches and conferences. So they're happy to welcome him, but they were never happy to welcome Charlie. You never saw Charlie spoken well of on the Gospel Coalition. You never saw him being invited to their conferences. And I don't know if you have this. I sent this over to you.
Yeah.
But this was the attitude that they took with Charlie. In 2021, one of their primary writers and vice president over at the conservative Christian publisher Crossway said something like, you don't have to give Charlie Kirk more views, right?
Yeah, 331. Put that up,
Yeah.
please. It's a tweet. 331. There you go.
That perfectly encapsulates sort of the attitude that they took towards Charlie. You didn't see him getting invited to chapels to speak at, say, Wheaton or Biola or even Grove City or any of these colleges that are supposed to be conservative Christian colleges, Orthodox colleges. So they were happy to have the Democratic operatives on, but they were not happy to have Charlie on. And then even further,
playing victim again.
When Charlie was assassinated, when he was martyred, and I want to use that word very specifically, they were put in an awkward position because suddenly people who hadn't been paying attention that closely saw an
Megan Basham
of love for the Lord, a strong, bold Christian witness. And I think that served as a rebuke to the sort of squishy faith that has been embraced and the kind of compromises that we've seen in big evangelicalism. So suddenly there was this stark contrast to what they had been doing. And that put them, I think, in a difficult position. So you did see some well wishes after that. But just as quickly as you saw the well wishes and you saw the laments and saying, we're very sorry that this happened, they were very careful not to praise his politics. And after that, you started to even see, I mean, maybe it took maybe a week, 2 weeks before the heavily critical article started to come out. So then Christianity Today ran, something on, well, the black voices in our churches are not so happy.
Oh, I bet.
Are lamenting Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk got on stream and said that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. And he called Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama stupid. So, I can understand why the black voices in churches would think that he was, a raging racist, because he was.
Kirk's death. And by the way, I also want to add Christianity Today to those who were very dismissive of Charlie before his death. Their editor-in-chief, Russell Moore, on his podcast would do that. He wouldn't name TPUSA, but he would talk about these political campus movements that are dividing the faith. And it was obviously...
It could also be Young Americans for Liberty.
USA. So when Charlie was assassinated and people saw so clearly what his record was, on evangelizing, on getting out to college campuses and speaking to young people, young men in particular, in the way that I quoted in that tweet, because he did say that. He said, you young men, stop going to the bar, start going to Bible studies, just putting it plainly, really the heir to Billy Graham in a very strong way. So when that happened, that put them in an
superstar Billy Graham.
And then you started to see things like these.
Oh, she means the pastor, not the wrestler.
Well-known conservative Christian conference speakers starting to criticize Charlie and starting to say, hey, wait a minute, let's not be too eager to look to his model, even as we're seeing, all of these people coming to the faith on the basis of what they saw at the memorial and speaking.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people have been giving themselves over to Christ.
One example of that is
following Charlie's
Mike
shooting.
Kelsey, who is a co-pastor of McLean Bible Church in Washington, D.C. It is supposed to be a conservative Orthodox church, and yet here is what he said right after.
Sky Comic can't get over the fact she's named Megan.
We have the clip. Play cut 332.
In fact, in some cases, I was shocked that so many professing Christians were rationalizing things that were so demeaning and unchristlike, and not just rationalizing things he said, but idolizing him as the prototype for a new generation of Christians. And here's my
I would say that Charlie was a great example of the Pharisee.
Point in all of that. This is not just Charlie Kirk. This is all of us. Every single one of us is tempted to talk to or about people in ways that not only dishonor them, but the God who created them in his image.
Oh, I just want to say one thing here really quick. Yeah, so Charlie knew that his calling from the Lord was very specific. He was a prophet. And what do they do to prophets? They kill prophets. Why? Because they speak the truth boldly and clearly and without reservation.
Who is they? Who is they, brother? Because according to Candace Owens, it's Israel and the Trump administration.
And the people hate it. And what he said this multiple times, said it to me, he said it on podcast. He was put
Good question, clinically. Welcome in.
Confront evil and to proclaim the truth. And what this tells me is that there is evil, that it lies.
Megan has some pretty eyes. She can be my GOP mommy.
Of the church, within the four walls of the church, Big Eva are clinging to lies. And I just, when I hear him speak like that, I'm just thinking lie, 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 cultural compromise, compromise, zero courage, and it's extraordinarily frustrating. But I digress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to play one more clip just to set the table for this, and then I'll explain why they're doing it.
I had this person confront me and say that they were an author, kind of like this Megan girl over here, said they authored 6 books this year alone. And I laughed my ass off and was like, so you didn't edit them, you didn't put any time or effort into them. If you wrote 6 books this year, I can tell you that all 6 of them are pieces of shit that you just rushed to get out as quickly as you could so that you could capitalize and make money.
So the other one is
she has the strongest chin of all 3 of them.
And if you're not familiar with her, again, she is a Christian author and she has done some good things, Gay Girl, Good God. That was a really good book, and I like her in some respects. But she
Gay Girl, Good God,
despite having some progressive ideas, onto all of these allegedly Christian conservative platforms. She is welcome to speak at seminaries.
Allegedly.
Welcome to speak at Christian college chapels. So let's hear what she said after Charlie was assassinated.
This is cut 330. Let's go ahead and throw it up.
Why don't you think he's a martyr? And it's like because I heard what he said.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's not that I don't appreciate his stances on abortion, on sexuality, on marriage.
Yes.
But it's also I hear other things alongside that don't give martyr.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't give martyr.
So I'm going to say unequivocally, Charlie was a martyr. Charlie was assassinated for his Christian beliefs. That's a martyr. We would not say that John the Baptist was not a martyr.
I don't think he was.
Well, technically, he was murdered because he called out King Herod for his...
They're all giving dumb.
...to his niece.
That one black guy, welcome in.
We recognize that when you are murdered for your Christian beliefs, you are a legitimate martyr, and Charlie was. And so what we are not seeing from all of these
Holiday, are you here?
outlets and seminaries and schools is we're not seeing any correction or rebuke for this kind of language.
Oh, thank you, Curious Sir.
Even
She
as
took
they
care of
have
it.
somewhat come out after the fact and now said, well, okay, you know, Charlie had some good things that he did. He did sort of draw some young men to faith. They're in an
I forget Holiday's not in the Discord, and I forget to remind him
on
Twitter.
How they have failed to do that. They have failed to speak to the young men. They have failed to pick up that mantle of Billy Graham and evangelize
They don't like the
next
Pope.
generation. And, you know, there's a very specific thing here that puts them in this awkward position, and it's something called the third way. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a method of evangelizing that says because we want to save some people in the church and bring them to church, we want to be very careful not to align politically with either the left or right. We have to say that
I have never heard
this wasn't a Democrat
third way applied to
as if, you know, the two sides
evangelizing.
are morally equal, as if there's a symmetry between them. And they'll do tricky things like say, oh, well, you know, they're here on immigration and the right is here on abortion. And both of those are pro-life issues, even though one is, you know, a legitimately biblically debatable issue and the other one is murder and not debatable.
By definition, abortion is not murder. The Bible says jack all about abortion other than how to conduct one. Seriously, that's the only thing the Bible says about abortion is how to perform one. Meanwhile, there's something like 30-something red letter Jesus Christ said, treat foreigners in your land like your own.
So, you know, I think that what we're seeing now is that they kept Charlie at arm's length because he showed a different way that wasn't the third way. It was a bold Christian witness that said, these are my political priorities, and these are my political priorities because I follow Christ.
Fear God, not
Try
man.
the fourth way. Stop evangelizing.
Big Eva, guess who they fear? They fear man.
Well, then the money's going to dry up if they're not evangelizing. All right, we're getting prepared for Tyler Robinson to appear in court in Utah momentarily. The hearing is set for 1 p.m. Mountain Time. That is minutes from now. We're going to go to East Idaho News. They are live. We're going to stand by for a court hearing. Exactly, Curiouser. Is a miscarriage God doing a murder? Clinically says Free Tyler. I don't know that he won't get off. I think the DOJ, with several of their cases, have been sloppy bitches and are possibly... This dude almost certainly committed a murder. He's probably going to get off because the DOJ was so sloppy in their handling of the investigation. Congrats on that one. Candace Owens, though, thinks that this is not the murderer. That Charlie Kirk actually murdered by Israel or some shit. She said it last night. They don't name a boulevard after you, and that Israel named a boulevard after Charlie Kirk unless they killed you. Well, I think this is a different case than like Luigi Mangione. I think he gets off because one, the DOJ fucked up the prosecution, but two, I don't think you can get a jury to convict him anywhere in this country. I don't think you can get all 12 people to say guilty. So here we go. Judge Tony F. Graff. Overseeing the hearing. So once again, at this hearing, they're going to be going over 2 points. Will he be allowed to wear civilian clothes, wear a suit and tie into the courtroom, or will he be shackled? The defense has asked that he be allowed to wear civilian clothes and not be shackled during all court appearances. The sheriff's department, the prosecution, is asking that he be shackled because they feel that he is a risk. And the more important point is whether cameras are going to be allowed in the courtroom going forward. Are you asking to whom he might be a threat? Possibly the court. Remember, this is a sheriff saying this. He already killed the guy he didn't like. Good point. You see the judge popping on to the Zoom hearing here.
Good afternoon. Court is now in session.
I believe this is the prosecution.
403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Will the parties please enter their appearances?
Your Honor, Christopher Ballard and Chad Grunander on behalf of the state.
Okay, so this guy's the prosecution.
Richard Novak and Stacy Visser on behalf of Mr. Robinson.
Thank you. Welcome to
this is Robinson's attorney.
Prosecution and defense. Mr. Robinson, I understand.
Probably the court reporter.
WebEx. Mr. Robinson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. We're here on the Tyler James Robinson motion to appear in civilian clothing and without physical restraints at all pretrial hearings. Because of some of the arguments involved in court security protocols, the court held a closed hearing on October 24th, 2025. During that hearing, the parties addressed several related matters. The first, Mr. Robinson's motion to strike the sheriff's response. The second, Mr. Robinson's motion to appear in civilian clothing and without physical restraints. The third, the sheriff's and Mr. Robinson's request to limit or exclude visual recording and photography in the courtroom. And finally, the fourth matter, the state's request to have all non-evidentiary hearings held remotely. The parties have stipulated that the state's request to hold non-evidentiary hearings virtually, as well as the parties' joint request to limit electronic media coverage, both require further briefing. Those issues are not yet ready for the court's decision. To facilitate that briefing, the court directs as follows. If the state wishes to have all non-evidentiary hearings conducted via WebEx, it must file a separate motion. The court will not rely on prior briefing. The standard timelines for response and reply apply, and the parties must file a request to submit and request a hearing if desired. If the parties seek to limit or restrict electronic media coverage, they may file a joint motion. Again, the court will not rely on prior briefing. That motion must address the factors set forth in Rule 4-401.01 sub 2 of the Utah Rules of Judicial Administration. Standard response and reply times apply, and the parties must file a request to submit once the matter is ripe for decision. The court took under advisement two issues, the motion to strike and the motion to appear in civilian clothing and without restraints. Court now issues its ruling. In regards to the motion to strike the sheriff's response, the prosecution and the sheriff's department filed a joint opposition to the defendant's motion to appear in civilian clothing and without restraints. Mr. Robinson moved to strike the sheriff's portion of that filing, arguing it was procedurally improper because the sheriff is not a party. At the hearing, all agreed that the sheriff's department is not a party in this case. The state and the sheriff's office nevertheless argued that the sheriff may file memoranda as a non-party. Mr. Robinson disagreed, but did not object to the court considering the sheriff's position on security. The court finds that the sheriff's department is not a party to this case, and therefore its joint filing with the prosecution was procedurally improper. Accordingly, defendant's motion to strike the sheriff's response is granted. However, under Rule 3-414 of the Utah Rules of Judicial Administration, The court is required to coordinate courtroom security with the sheriff's department. Consistent with that rule and with the defendant's agreement, the court has considered the substance of the state's opposition and the memorandum prepared by the court security director that was attached to it. Going forward, if either party has a security concern specific to this case, they may present evidence from the sheriff's department by affidavit, declaration, exhibit, or testimony. This order does not limit the sheriff's department's ability to coordinate with the court or otherwise act as authorized by law. Turning to the motion to appear in civilian clothing and without physical restraints. The parties agree that during trial, a defendant has a right to appear in civilian clothing and that any restraints must be concealed from the jury. Mr. Robinson now seeks to extend those rights to all pretrial proceedings. The court considered each request separately. In relation to requests to appear in civilian clothing, Mr. Robinson asks to appear in civilian clothing at all pretrial hearings. He argues that the extensive media coverage of this case creates a real risk of prejudice if the public
he ain't wrong.
and potential jurors repeatedly see him in jail attire. The state, the sheriff's department, and the court security director opposed the request, arguing that jail clothing assists with safety and identification. The court has balanced these competing concerns. The case has attracted extraordinary public and media attention. Images of Mr. Robinson in jail clothing are likely to circulate widely and influence prospective jurors. Given the scale of that publicity, the risk of prejudice is significant. However, Mr. Robinson's, let me see here. As previously stated, Mr. Robinson sits before this court presumed innocent, and that presumption remains unless and until each element of every offense charged against him is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. To date, this has not occurred, and the presumption of innocence remains. Balancing these factors, the court finds that Mr. Robinson's right to the presumption of innocence outweighs the minimal inconvenience of permitting civilian attire, and Mr. Robinson shall be dressed as one who is presumed innocent. Accordingly, the defendant's request to appear in civilian clothing for all pretrial proceedings is granted. Defense counsel is directed to coordinate with the jail to ensure that this order is implemented, and the court further orders that if the clothing be provided 72 hours prior to any hearing.
So he's going to be allowed to wear civilian clothes.
Request to appear without physical restraints. Mr. Robinson also requests to appear unrestrained during pretrial proceedings. He argues that visible restraints would prejudice potential jurors.
Might deny that
undermine
one.
his dignity and interfere with his ability to communicate with counsel. Rule 3-14 sub 9C of the Utah Rules of Judicial Administration requires that all in custody defendants be restrained unless otherwise
let him hang dong
by the court. The court recognizes that Mr. Robinson has no criminal history and no record of misconduct while in custody. However, the charges he faces are extraordinarily serious, carrying potential penalties of life imprisonment or death. The safety of Mr. Robinson, the attorneys, court staff, and the public must remain the court's highest priority. The emotional nature of these proceedings also raise the risk of disruption. Given these factors, the defendant's request to appear without restraint is denied. The court directs the sheriff's department to
That's what I figured.
individualized assessment and use the least restrictive restraints necessary to maintain safety. If those restraints impede the defendant's ability to communicate with counsel or take notes, counsel may renew the motion. I wish now to also address the decorum and media restrictions.
So this is the one I want to hear.
Prejudice. The court will amend its standing decorum order. The media will be prohibited from photographing or visually recording Mr. Robinson's restraints and from photographing or recording him while entering, exiting, or standing.
Oh shit, we're going to get video in the courtroom.
Making this amendment, the court has considered the factors in Rule 4-401.01 sub 2. This is a high-profile case with strong public interest. Restricting the recording of restraint strikes the proper balance between Mr. Robinson's right to a fair proceeding.
Yay, I was worried we weren't going to have video.
Access.
This judge is awesome.
In conclusion, the court orders as follows. Defendant's motion to strike the sheriff's response is granted. Defendant's motion to appear in civilian clothing is granted. Defendant's motion to appear without restraints is denied. The standing decorum order will be amended to prohibit any visual recording or photography of the defendant's restraints or of the defendant entering or exiting the courtroom. This constitutes the order of the court, and a written order and ruling will be published shortly. Both defense and prosecution have stipulated to vacate the October 30th hearing. Additional time is needed to complete discovery and to file motions addressing whether non-evidentiary hearings should be conducted virtually, whether to impose any blanket restrictions on cameras in the courtroom, and any other motions that may arise. This matter is set to return before the court on January 16th, 2026 at 1 p.m. and again on January 30th, 2026 at 1 p.m. Both hearings will be heard and held in person with Mr. Robinson present to address these issues. And that concludes the order of this court. Counsel, thank you for being here. Mr. Robinson, we'll see you on January 16th and January.
I am so happy about this. I thought they were going to do a media blackout. So the defense got most of the stuff that they wanted. He will be allowed to appear in civilian clothes, but will be shackled up until the trial. The media is not allowed to photograph him or videotape him in his restraints or shackles. And that's how they are striking the balance by allowing video to be broadcast from the trial. So yes, we are going to get to watch the trial on video. Thankfully. I'm very happy about that. Now, this is probably going to be your only episode of the Troll Patrol today. I'm going to take this evening off, so let's do a little news before we get the fuck out of here. I might come back on and do Halloween specials tonight, though. Pam Bondi apparently had a bounty put on her head. A man offered $45,000 for the murder of Pam Bondi.
We are following some breaking news involving U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. I wanted to share this social media post from the New York Post saying that a 29-year-old anarchist has been arrested for an alleged $45K hit on Pam Bondi. That is according to the FBI. And I did want to share just a little bit more information as we now have reaction from Senator Tom Cotton saying left-wing threats of violence against federal officials must stop. I'm thankful Attorney General Pam Bondi is safe and that law enforcement has apprehended the suspect. So a little bit more information at this hour. A Minnesota man is facing federal charges after being accused of offering a $45,000 bounty on Attorney General Pam Bondi in a TikTok video. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota has filed charges against Tyler Maxon.
Oh no, that's going to be one that needs to be challenged. That could fall under free speech.
Of St.
Crow, welcome in.
Who is facing one count of making a threat online. The complaint against the suspect,
DJ Dub, welcome in.
Post that includes a photo of Attorney General Pam Bondi with a sniper scope red dot on her forehead and text that reads, quote, "Wanted Pam Bondi, reward $45,000, dead or alive, preferably dead." Screenshots of the post are included in the complaint, and the caption for the post reads, "Cough, cough, what they don't serve us, then what?" The screenshot shows the bounty post only had 6 likes and 7 comments. Authorities were alerted to the post by a
only had 6 likes.
The post was imposing a hit on Bondi. The video was posted to an account with the account name Wacko with the symbol of anarchy used for an A in that name. The account also had a post linking to an anarchist frequently asked the questions site. So investigators say the suspect has a criminal record, including stalking and domestic assault.
Well, we did the story last night. A dude's been in jail in Tennessee for a month over a meme.
According to the complaint against the suspect, investigators were able to trace the account to a Samsung Galaxy phone that had multiple logins using an IP address linked to the suspect's apartment. Investigators also found that other accounts registered to that phone included a Gmail account registered in the suspect's name. So we did want to pass along the breaking news that a Minnesota man has been accused of putting out a $45,000 bounty for attorney
Fucking Minnesota men.
on TikTok right there.
You can't trust a Minnesota man. You can't trust Trump. Remember last night we did the Steve Bannon interview where he said we're going to reveal how we're going to get Trump a third term. Well, here's the plan. Trump blurted it out on Air Force One earlier.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House or the White House counsels or your legal position?
No, you'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think
There's nothing cute about you.
it's too cute. It's not. It wouldn't be right.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House or the White House counsels or your legal position?
No, you'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't.
So what they're saying is that he would run as vice president and then J.D. Vance presumably would step down, making Trump the president again. I didn't think you could. I would assume that would face a legal challenge, but I mean, you can't run for president if you tried to attack the country, and yet that's what happened. Let's hear from our boy over on CNN, Mr. Harry Enton, giving us the polling breakdown. I mean, it wasn't legal for him to run for president this past time, and he did it anyway. So nothing surprises me anymore.
Joining us now, CNN chief data analyst.
Unless I was to find out that Harry Enton was straight, that would surprise me.
That conversation. Has Trump push for tariffs been successful in the minds of the American people?
No. No is the simple answer. I mean, I think that Americans have moved more against tariff than any other major Trump policy that he's been pushing during this second term. What are we talking about here?
Which is insanity.
Look at this. New tariffs on imported goods. You know, you go back to November of 2024, the majority, 52%, were in favor of it. Look at where we are now in 2025, in the fall of 2025. 60% of Americans are opposed to Trump's tariffs. So we're talking about a 4-point margin in favor, switcheroo, now to a 20-point margin against. And of course, there was all this news coming.
Key West gay.
Right, Canada tariffs. We're not just talking China, we're talking Canada and tariffs. And get this, we're talking about just 36%, as I look at my little footnote here on the bottom, who support new tariffs against Canada. So the bottom line is this. If I were advising President Donald John Trump when it comes to his policies, I'd say step off the tariffs, at least from a political point of view, because the bottom line is it doesn't sell with the American people. It's one of the largest shifts that we have seen.
He likes Henry? No way.
Yeah, I mean, the difference here might be that the economy has not greatly improved, and they're sort of seeing that this isn't going hand in hand. All right, what about how Americans feel towards our Canadian neighbors? Longtime friends, they're always considered to be the nicest people.
Yes.
What are they feeling now?
So, picking
Now, I've met some Canadians.
Picking a fight with Canada is just something totally different here. So what are you talking about? Net popularity in the United States. Well, Canada is far more popular than Donald Trump is here in the United States. Look at this. The net popularity rating of Canada is plus 49 percentage points. Look at the net popularity rating of Donald Trump here in the United States. It's minus 10. We're talking about Canada coming out nearly 60 points ahead on the net popularity rating versus Donald Trump here in the United States. When you pick on Canada as a United States president, you are picking on a country that the American people adore. They adore Canada. Canada has always been a friend to the United States, at least during our lifetimes. And when you're going after Canada, you are going against someone who is far more popular than you are with Donald Trump. Pretty much every single time among most Americans, Americans will choose Canada over Donald Trump, yet Trump has decided to yet another fight with somebody or some entity or some country that is more popular than he is.
Any president would love to see that.
Blame Canada.
The last president that had this type of number was George W. Bush back in the early 2000s. No president has come anywhere close to how popular Canada.
I tell you what, do you guys want to watch who hasn't watched the latest episode of South Park in the chat? Would you like to watch the latest episode of South Park here in about 30 minutes? All right, we'll do news up until the top of the hour. We'll do South Park at the top of the hour, the newest episode. It aired not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before last. We will watch South Park at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock.
Canada is right now, and Donald Trump certainly is a long, long, long away. He cannot see Canada from his house when it comes.
There is nothing long about Donald Trump.
To his net popularity.
All right, let's reverse this. How do Canadians feel about the United States?
They think that Donald Trump's a big hoser. That's what they think. They hate Donald Trump. They hate everything that he's doing. Canadians who say America is an enemy or potential threat, look in 2023, it was 7%. Look how high it's gone now. We're talking about 48%. We're talking
Holiday, welcome in. The new episode of South Park is called Twisted Christian. That's the name of it, Twisted Christian.
And the Trump administration, my dear friends, has a net popularity rating in Canada of minus, get this, 58.
I mean, he is a hoser.
Americans love Canada, but Canadians no longer love the United States of America. Sarah?
Oh, Canada.
Oh, you went over there. Look at that.
Oh, Canada. I ran away from you because I don't want the Canadians mad with me. Thank you so much, Kirk.
Bye.
All right, joining us now, Pennsylvania Congressman Brendan Boyle, ranking member on the Budget Committee and on the Ways and Means Committee.
He looks like a dude that's getting ready to sell me a sham wow or something.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's talk about this. Donald Trump in Asia saying, look, the two countries have agreed to a framework for a trade deal. At the same time, he has lashed out at Canada once again, imposing a new and extra 10% tariff on Canada, basically because he was angry with an ad that they put out by the Ontario province. You're a ranking member on the Budget Committee and the Ways and Means Committee. I mean, what do you make of these two moves by the president?
Well, first, in terms of Canada, not only is it perhaps, and in my view, our greatest ally and certainly our closest ally, it is also one of our major trading partners. Frankly, about 40% of our trade is only with three countries, Canada, Mexico, and China combined. So Donald Trump is doing real damage, not to Canada alone, but to the American people. The reality is the Trump tariff taxes are deeply unpopular because they make life harder and more expensive for everyone. Now, in terms of China, his announcement, if that's what you want to call it, that we perhaps have the framework of a deal, well, it doesn't really excite me very much. I'm not going to give
what does get you dick hard, sir?
Possibly putting out the fire that he started in the first place.
That is one way to put it, Congressman. Congressman Boyle, your Republican colleague from Pennsylvania, Congressman McCormick, said this to our Manu Raju about negotiating with Democrats. When it comes to reopening the government, we are now getting closer and closer to a historically long shutdown. Here's what he said.
I think they're eventually going to use the nuclear option to reopen the government. Maybe. I don't know how this ends.
Can't negotiate with a terrorist.
So what's happening right now is that the Democrats are trying to ask for something extremely unreasonable. You can have any negotiation discussion you want about extending health care benefits, but you can't start with you're going to shut down the government to get that. So.
Now, he was given a chance to walk back calling Democrats terrorists in that interview. He didn't, but after the interview, he said that he meant...
Oh, by the way, there have been many people in my comments on YouTube talking about how the left is violent. Several of them have made threats against me.
The Democrats were hostage takers. How can you work together if this is what your Republican colleague thinks of you?
Yeah, well, first, I mean, it's absolutely outrageous for a Republican member of Congress, the Senate, to call any Democrat a terrorist. I certainly wouldn't use that language.
They've been calling us terrorists for decades.
The other side of the aisle.
Remember when anybody that was opposed to Bush's policies was called a terrorist sympathizer?
So the substance of what he said, what he thinks is so unreasonable.
I remember.
Is the fact that we're saying we want everything to operate as it currently does while we negotiate. That means no health care cuts to the American people, period. These are the Republican cuts that were included in their tax bill a few months ago. This is the bill that Donald Trump used to call the one big beautiful bill until it became so deeply unpopular that he just suddenly stopped talking about it. The reason why it's so deeply unpopular is that it includes taking...
Freaking Ridge Farms remembers.
According to CBO, from more than 15 million Americans and making premiums more expensive for millions and millions more, mostly to pay for tax cuts that go to very wealthy people.
Oh, Dunce 420, thank you.
So,
infinite years of good luck. I appreciate you.
At all. And I am encouraged by the fact that most polls show that the American people, by a small majority, actually agree with the Democratic position.
Wishing you health and happiness for your family as well.
The Pentagon says it will use $130,000 donated by an anonymous donor and friend of Donald Trump to pay some members of the military during the shutdown. Are you okay with this?
I don't know, like,
on the one hand,
I think Curiouser may be here. I don't even know.
Credit to any private citizen who would say he doesn't want anyone in the military to go without a paycheck, and that he's voluntarily kicking
She's got the weed.
Some of his own millions. He obviously has a lot of millions to spare. But on further examination, it is worrying that this ends up actually being more of a cost than it's worth. And what I mean is, what is Mr. Mellon getting in return?
Mr. Mellon?
Incredibly large contribution. The conflict of interest rules that used to apply until the Trump administration just decided to ignore them would actually prevent something like this from happening. So, again, on the one hand, I give credit to this individual for acting in such a way to ensure that our soldiers don't go without a paycheck. But I am deeply worried about the conflict of interest this presents and what he may be getting in return, kind of the quo part.
I've been getting a lot of
all right, Congressman Brendan Boyle, thank you.
Cooking videos about hollandaise sauce lately. No, I don't even have my paraphernalia in here. Like all my bowls and my bongs and everything are packed up. So that is why like Curiouser just comes in. It's like, here, hit this bowl. Do you guys remember Dinesh D'Souza? Dinesh D'Souza had one of those tweets that, like, zero self-awareness. Responding to somebody saying, you're Indian, you made nothing, you are nothing, and devoid of creation. Your ilk has been a race of slaves for hundreds of years, and even after being given a chance, you prove what worth you are. D'Souza responded with, in a career spanning 40 years, I have never encountered this type of rhetoric. The right never used to talk like this. The right never used to talk like this, which is an absurd thing to say. So who on our side has legitimized this type of vile degradation? It's a question worth thinking about. The right has literally always talked like this, and what is fucking hilarious is Dinesh. I should have went ahead and found it here. Dinesh, within minutes of tweeting that, tweeted something out that was absolutely vile racist. I have him on video saying some vile racist shit, but like within minutes of tweeting that out just a few days ago. Because he's very focused on the New York City mayoral race. God, he tweets so fucking much. He has tweeted about Mamdani multiple times here. Yeah. Look at this. Today, Mamdani. Tomorrow, this guy. Wait, is that supposed to be Dinesh marching next to Trump? Dinesh and Candace Owens? God damn, he tweets so fucking much. Fuck it. I didn't have it ready, but you saw all the racism. You can see the racism right here.
To welcome to the podcast Congressman Randy Fine. He is
This is Danielle D'Souza.
He is.
This is Dinesh's daughter.
Great guy, great friend. I hope that you've seen some of his recent legislation, which we're going to talk to him about today. But Congressman Fine, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, great.
This motherfucker is one of the most racist members of Congress we've ever had. And I'm going to count people during Jim Crow and the founding of our country. This dude is incredibly racist.
Well, maybe we can start out just by talking a little bit about the New York mayor election, because this crazy communist candidate, Mamdani, looks like he's going to win. It looks like he's, the front runner. I don't think that Cuomo
crazy communist candidate
are going to be dropping out. So it looks like he's going to be up there. And he has been, very radical. He's been saying radical things. He's obviously someone who is not just Muslim, but he believes in Sharia law. And I know that you have been really doing a lot.
He believes in Sharia law.
No Sharia Act, which would ban Sharia law in America. Can you tell us a little bit about just your reaction to seeing someone like this potentially become mayor of one of America's largest cities?
Well, it's extraordinary because, and it's an honor to be here. By the way, I'm a huge fan of your husband. He's a good friend of mine. I'm in Congress. We're both freshmen, I think, willing to openly speak our minds. And I think a lot of people aren't. But what we're seeing in New York is very troubling, that 2 decades after 9/11, someone who supports what the hijackers did on that day could actually be elected to be mayor. He's not just a communist. He's a jihadist. And you can see it in the people that he associates with and in the language that he uses. He doesn't believe Americans should have guns, but he believes that Hamas should not disarm. He's not willing to tell people don't engage in violence in New York, globalize the Intifada. He's not willing to condemn that. So it is extraordinary in America's largest city, in one of the world's premier cities, that we could fall to a communist jihadist. And it is very scary. And it says that we have a big problem that we have to deal with in America. We've been so focused on illegal immigration for the past 20 years, we have stopped looking at legal immigration. And unfortunately, over the past 2 decades, we have allowed people into this country who hate it. And we're about potentially to see the results of that in New York.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News.
Fucking wow. And this isn't even the Dinesh post I was looking for, but this is an example of his racism. Mamdani wants to remind this guy the real victim of 9/11 was his aunt, who could no longer wear her hijab on the subway on account of the Islamophobia. They are revoking people's visas and not letting them leave the country. Did the dude that was the fascist expert that was fleeing, they detained him. Did he finally get out? This is the latest, but that's not quite up to date. That was the 9th. U.S. anti-fascism expert leaves country day after being blocked from flying to Spain. Okay, so he did finally get out. Rutgers University professor who published book on Antifa was told at gate his trip was canceled after Trump's threats. A Rutgers University professor who taught a course on anti-fascism has left the U.S. a day after he was blocked from boarding a flight to Spain. Mark Bray, a historian who has taught courses on anti-fascism at the New Jersey University, was attempting to board a plane at Newark Airport late on Wednesday. This was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when he was informed at the boarding gate that reservations for him and his family had been canceled. The professor, nicknamed Dr. Antifa by students, had said he was moving to Europe after receiving death threats. Turning Point USA activists have claimed that Bray, author of the 2017 book Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, is a financier for the left-wing movement. Someone canceled my family's flight out of the country at the last second, Bray posted on Bluesky. We got our boarding passes, we checked our bags, went through security, then at our gate, our reservation disappeared. Bray told the New York Times earlier on Wednesday, my role in this is as a professor. I've never been part of an Antifa group, and I'm not currently. There's an effort underway to paint me as someone who is doing the things that I've researched, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Anyway. Last night, I did not take it. There was a rally going on in New York City with AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Zohran Mamdani. Oh, and Kathy Hochul.
More than 160,000 voters went to the polls this weekend for early voting here in New York City for the mayor's race. With just over a week until Election Day, Democratic frontrunner Zohran Mamdani rallied supporters in Queens, telling them they are, quote, taking the city back.
Again and again, we were told that if we had any hope of beating the Republican Party, it would only be by becoming the Republican Party. This was a moment where it's...
Well, hey, Hakeem finally said he endorses the Democratic candidate.
And in this moment, New York, you had a choice to retreat or to fight. New York is not for sale.
All right, CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman was actually there at that event and joins us now with the scoop. Katrina, good morning to you once again. I haven't actually heard Zohran Mamdani sound so, I guess, loud and passionate, and everything I've seen, he's kind of been even-keeled. So what stood out to you from the rally over the weekend?
Good morning, Errol. This was a very impassioned rally, and I think something that really stood out is that Zohran Mamdani is being championed by key Democratic leaders, power brokers in New York, including Governor Kathy Hochul. She was at
I assume they see the writing on the wall.
This rally, got on that stage, and actually was heckled off essentially at one point. And there was a really stark contrast. People were yelling at her, tax the rich, which is one of Mamdani's policies that she has not signed on to. They later yelled that at him, Errol, and his response was, hell yeah, obviously. But a big theme of...
So now this is hilarious because Hochul doesn't think they were yelling tax the rich at her. She thinks they were saying something else.
Let's go Bills. I wasn't sure. When you're up there, I heard some noise. I heard a lot of cheers. But later on, it became clear to me that I know there's passion for that. I mean, I went in there as the leader of the Democratic Party, whose job it is to unify behind the Democratic nominee. I love the energy out there. I told them that. And I want to do is bottle all that up, use it in a few days, but take that to Long Island and the Hudson Valley and make it to you. I thought they were saying, let's go Bills.
Weren't they in New York? Wouldn't they be yelling, "Let's go Giants" instead of Bills? Buffalo is in upstate. They were in New York City. Why would they be yelling, "Let's go Bills"? Jesus Christ, this woman is horrible.
I can hear you.
Can you?
But here's my friends. You want to see Zoran or not?
They'd rather see him than you.
I got one plea for you. I love to see this energy and this passion. And for those of you who've not been involved in the voting or even campaigns before, I am so excited about what is going on here. But I need you to do something. All right, one more thing, my friend. This is about this November's election, but take that energy, that passion, and take it into 26 so that we can take back the House of Representatives, take the Senate, and take back our country. With your help, we will. Elect Thur, we take back America. Thank you, Queens. Thank you, New York. I love you guys.
Ma'am Donnie walks out to make sure she walks out to cheers. What a rally. Yeah, come on, Grandma. Let's get you off the stage. So what is it? A week from tomorrow. A week from tomorrow. That should be the mayor-elect in New York City. But it's going to get ugly here in this last week. Billionaires are dumping vast amounts of money to try to stop Mamdani from becoming the
Today on Forbes,
mayor of New York City.
These billionaires are spending big to stop him from becoming NYC's mayor. Zoran Mamdani is riding high. The 34-year-old Democratic Socialist New York State Assemblyman remains well ahead of former Governor Andrew Cuomo and talk show host Curtis Sliwa in the race for New York City mayor. This is despite making more than a few enemies in high places. At an October 13th rally, Mamdani declared, quote, "Billionaires like Bill Ackman and Ronald Lauder have poured millions of dollars into this race because they say that we pose an existential threat. I am here to admit something. They are right." Hedge funder Ackman did indeed put $1.75 million into political groups spending against Mamdani, the official Democratic nominee, as of October 22nd. And cosmetics heir Lauder has contributed another $750,000. But while these two billionaires were name-checked by the mayoral frontrunner, they aren't the only billionaires breaking open their considerable piggy banks to oppose Mamdani. In fact, 26 billionaires and members of billion-dollar families from around the country have sunk at least $100,000 each into supporting Cuomo, now running as an independent, or one of the other candidates running against Mamdani, according to a Forbes analysis. In all, these billionaires have donated over $22 million to back opposition campaigns, flooding the airwaves and mailboxes of Big Apple residents with anti-Mamdani messages. Over half of those donations, about $13.6 million, came before Mamdani won the Democratic primary on June 24th. More than half of that was donated by former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who endorsed Cuomo and flooded
this piece of shit
Fix the City, Inc. with $8.3 million in cash in June. Since then, Bloomberg and Mamdani have reportedly met for what was described as a, quote, cordial discussion. Other big liberal donors, Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings and media entrepreneur Barry Diller, for example, each sent
his nipples could cut glass
dollars before the primary as well. Some conservative givers and Trump allies have waded into the race too, like casino magnate Steve Wynn.
Turn your headlights off, man. What the fuck is this dude's deal?
And oil baron John Hess, who cut his first check in May and has since put $1 million total.
Why do all these old billionaires look so fucking weird? This is like Kramer on meth.
The race too, like casino magnate Steve Wynn, who donated $500,000 in October, and oil baron John Hess, who cut his first check in May and has since put $1 million total up against Mamdani.
Look at this ugly fuck.
Mamdani, a 3-term state legislator.
Droopy dog over here.
John Hess.
How is his ears that big? What the fuck is up with the earlobes hanging all the way down?
His first check in May and has since put $1 million total up against Mamdani. Mamdani, a 3-term state legislator, has sketched out a left-wing
He's a fucking hottie compared to all those dudes.
Told NBC News, quote, "I don't think we should have billionaires because frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality."
An evil Buddha.
In recent months,
that was perfect. Evil Buddha. That's exactly what this is.
Universal childcare, paid for in theory by raising the top marginal income tax rate in New York City by 2 points and hiking corporate income taxes from 7.25% to New Jersey's rate of 11.5%. No surprise then that 16 of the 26 billionaire donors that Forbes found are city residents, including Bloomberg, Diller, and the Tisch family.
Yes, I shouldn't criticize somebody's earlobes.
Donors to New York University and own a stake in the New York Giants has put at least $1.2 million into groups trying to take Mamdani down, which is particularly notable in part because Jessica Tisch, a member of the family, is the New York City Police Commissioner, whom Mamdani has reportedly pledged to keep in his administration if elected.
It was as high as like 95%.
Ruling the nation's biggest city, billionaires from all over the country have sent money across state lines to bolster Mamdani opponents. Altogether, 10 of the billionaires reside elsewhere, including Texan Walmart heir Alice Walton, Floridian hedge funder Daniel Ock, a former New Yorker, and Bostonian John Fish, whose Suffolk Construction's projects in the city include the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, which it is renovating, and a new super tall skyscraper at 520 Fifth Avenue. For full coverage, and to see our whole list of billionaires opposing Mamdani so far.
But the thing that has been the most fun about this New York City mayoral race is the fact that Jojo Siwa is fucking hilarious. He's a gigantic piece of shit. He was asked which venue was his favorite venue in New York City, and he answered the Chainsmokers. And I was like, did he mean the band? Yes, he meant the band. His wife posted a video of him at a Chainsmokers concert.
Speaking of Mamdani, today he got the endorsement of House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And this is after Andrew Cuomo got the support of Mayor Eric Adams. But as early voting starts tomorrow, none of this is bothering our next guest. Joining us now, Republican candidate for New York City Mayor, Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, thanks for being with us here again today. You've gone through 2 debates now. Do you sense any shift? I know from the beginning that you have rejected the polls. Do you shift in whatever you are measuring? Word on the street. Any shift after the debates?
Absolutely. Not only in the streets, but the one place I go where none of the other candidates venture, into the subways, where 6 million people are transiting from point to point and having conversations with me, and of course social networking. If you look at my YouTube, if you look at my TikTok and my Instagram, it's exploding because a lot of younger people, millennials or Gen Z,
I followed him. I think he's hilarious.
Forsaken to be Zoronistas are now looking at me totally differently and saying, wait a second.
No, sir.
Language.
I'm just amused by you.
Than the irrational, fantasy-driven Zoran Mamdani, who doesn't deal with reality. I'm closing the gap.
And he continues to get his name wrong.
Do the best in a one-on-one versus Zoran Mamdani, not Cuomo. Now you say to yourself, first time they ever had me going one-on-one against Zoran Mamdani. Why is that? Why have they never pitted me against Zoran Mamdani before? it's clear that if
you'd still lose.
Me versus Zoran, I have the best chance of beating him.
All right, let's go back to the subway. That's where you're doing, it sounds like, your personal focus group. You said the other night in the first debate, you don't do a lot in the...
Media Winch, do you not know he's a, Markov, he's a guardian angel. He's like the founder of the Guardian Angels in New York City. It's like a paramilitary militia that goes around assaulting innocent people. We watched him assault an innocent person on Fox News 2 years ago, live on camera.
Cabs, and you had a story and a reason why. Here's what you said about taking a yellow.
He wore a raspberry beret.
Fast, and you can't take the train. Do you hail a taxi? Do you use rideshare? Mr. Sliwa, what do you do?
I try to avoid yellow cabs. As you know, I was shot in the back.
It was Media Winch. It was like the white person response to the Black Panthers.
Back of a yellow cab in 1992 by the Gottis and Gambinos. But I'd find my way around. If I have to, I Uber if I can't get there by mass transit.
I didn't know that, Curtis. I didn't know you were shot by the Gambinos.
Oh, yeah, they're in the news now with gambling with the NBA. But really, John Gotti Sr. ordered John Gotti Jr. and the Gambino crime family to eliminate me. It got me in the back of the cab. It got me 5 hollow point bullets right through my lower extremities. I obviously survived, took a licking, came back kicking. But now, for the first time in my life, I have armed security with me and my wife.
Curious, we're going to wrap up at the top of the hour. We're going to watch the new South Park episode, or the last new South Park episode.
Right. You did mention your social media. Quickly, Curtis, I do want to play this. You are growing, as you mentioned, and I can attest to...
I went and followed him on social media.
In terms of people talking about you,
I couldn't believe I wasn't already following him.
Your social media. Watch.
The guy is funny.
This man.
He's hilarious.
So funny.
Curtis Sliwa is like if a
War Machine
uncle and
a racist wacky uncle.
Brother, it would be Curtis.
Even though he's kind of wacky, he's actually really got a cool story. He's a real community organizer.
No, he's not.
He really seems to love New York City.
He's really racist.
That's evidence to exactly what you were describing earlier. But this can't be, and as I know you know this, Bill Ackman has suggested that you're continuing to run because of matching funds that is going into you. I think one could say, are you doing this to grow your YouTube? Are you doing this to grow your social media presence?
I mean, that's why Trump ran for office.
You gotta understand, you're really in this because you think you can win mayor of New York City.
Well, didn't everybody forsake the young vote to Zoran? Andrew Cuomo can't get anybody under 55. And Ackman is wrong every step of the way. That guy is a billionaire jerk. He should stay in his lane, which is Wall Street. He knows nothing about the streets. It's not just social networking. It's micro-targeting. Now you got to get all of these people to get out to vote. Tomorrow, I vote on the first day of early voting. That should put a nail into the coffin for anybody who thinks I'm dropping out. And we've already got the lit out there. We're doing the emails, the text blasts, the micro-targeting, door-to-door knocking, which is so critical, door hangers, everything that goes into getting out your vote. Whoever gets out their vote will be the next mayor. Now, Andrew Cuomo has been off the campaign trail, according to the New York Post, for 10 days. You can't win an election if all you do is moan and groan that Curtis Sliwa should drop out and then tell your followers, well, I can't win if Curtis Sliwa doesn't drop out. He's already waving the white flag while we're charging. We've got energy, we've got momentum, and we got a lot of young people coming on board who never realized what Republican values of law and order, quality of life are. I'm the new Rudy Giuliani for a new generation, and they're loving every second of it.
All right, Curtis Sliwa. Early voting starts tomorrow. Thanks for your time, Curtis. Hey, it's Will Kane.
They didn't even play his best moments. Come on. This is from a Cracked article called How Jojo Siwa Became the Funniest Man in Politics. Here's one of the highlights from the debate the other night.
Would any of you accept Mayor Adams' endorsement? Mr. Mamdani?
No.
Mr. Cuomo?
Yes, I would.
Mr. Sliwa?
Absolutely not. Put that crook in jail where he belongs.
And final.
Yes. And by the way, Cuomo did accept his endorsement.
Eric Adams is damaged goods. Every day, a new case of corruption in the police department. They believe he's corrupt. Andrew Cuomo is a creep, slapping fannies and killing grannies. Everybody likes Curtis Sliwa. My favorable ratings are the highest in this election cycle. So get. Eric Adams is damaged goods. Every day, a new case of corruption in the police department. They believe he's corrupt.
I love it.
Andrew Cuomo is a creep, slapping fannies and killing grannies. Everybody likes Curtis Sliwa. My favorable ratings are the highest in this election.
I believe his favorable ratings are the highest. He's ran for mayor multiple times.
Donnie?
If there was a ranked choice election?
In this. You'd have to rank these.
Myself, number 1, and Curtis, number 2.
Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, please don't be glazing me here, Zora.
He's fucking funny.
I support ranked choice voting, but I'd only vote for myself.
Mr. Cuomo?
I love that Zoran and Curtis ticket idea. I don't know. I'm just enamored with it.
I'm kind of into it myself. Slapping fannies and killing grannies. All right, we're going to watch the newest episode of South Park. It is season 28, episode 1. So, weirdly enough, they actually started a new season. This is a continuation of the same season we've been watching. But this is actually listed as season 28, episode 1. I'm going to go to the restroom real fast, refill my drink. We're going to take a little break. We're going to watch South Park at the top of the hour. YouTube. We're going to have to say bye to you. We can't do this stuff on YouTube. YouTube podcast people, go ahead. This is your only Troll Patrol for today. I'm going to take the evening off. We might be back later to watch Halloween specials on Kick and Twitch. So YouTube people, podcast people, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live. YouTube people and podcast people are